Friends, Romans, countrymen, I'm thrilled to welcome two of Stirling University's finest. In fact, two of Scotland's finest. One a man who once dragged a microwave behind his car for fun, and the other a man whose job it would be to catch and charge him if that were to happen within the policing limits of East Lothian today. The best men, Rob Mackenzie and Lee Wilson.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, friends and family. For those who know me, no need for introductions, but yes, the microwave story is true. Those who don't, I am Rob, Will's much better looking brother, and he's told me so himself, so that's great. I work with my dad, Alistair, my brother Will, Stephanie, and Jeanette. We provide the parents' booking system, and schools use it all over the world, which is amazing. Sorry, losing my place. Will joined the company shortly after I did, and he has grown that fantastically. He's the main guy up front, dealing with the schools, the partners, the staff, the technical requirements, the data protection, the future planning, and much more roles. What a guy. I'm more behind the scenes, you know, just on the technical side, pushing a few buttons. Now, just a bit of health and safety. The manager at the venue did say, please don't stand up on the benches at the end for my ovation. Let's just keep it safe. But, you know, happily refill my glass, that would be great. I have been informed, however, just don't feed the alpacas any more drink. That would be helpful. On behalf of the bridesmaids, I'm sure you all agree they look incredible today. And they've done an excellent job of getting Beth ready for her big day. Also, massive thanks to everyone who put together this amazing venue. It looks fantastic. And of course, Beth looks amazing. So, absolutely radiant. It's a great honor to be sharing the best man with Lee Wilson, my hockey captain at Stirling University, one of Will's oldest friends as well, so it's an absolute privilege. Obviously, I've known Will my whole life. And as there's only about a year and a half between us, we have always been very close. Because of our close ages, we were transported around in a dual pram growing up. And that gave Will the opportunity to, make several several blows to me from that pram, which was very nice. He's always taken the lead in situations, playing the big bro. For example, when we were young, about 3 or 5, our lovely Auntie Catherine, who is sadly no longer with us, took us to the Wynn Park Play Park to play in Inverness. Now, we'd always been desperate to go on a very big slide, which is a very high slide and a very long slide. I mean, you literally have to go up about 100 metal steps to get up to the top of this thing. And you could see it across the whole town of Inverness, which is now obviously the city, the capital of the Highlands. Sorry, I keep losing my place. Now, this, of course, was the 90s, where there were no safety barriers. There was no rubber mat to fall onto. And after quite a few times flying down the slide, backwards, forwards, together, we're on the way back home, and our Auntie Catherine asked, "Did you have fun?" And Will pipes up, "Oh, yes. Mum never lets us go on that slide."
You were 3. No, Will was 3.
I would, at this point, just like to thank Neil Auntie Catherine's son, who played today at the beach. And also to Rob, who's steady on the bagpipes. It was beautiful music for both of you. One time, though, we were slightly older, about 7 or 9. I took the decision, which didn't work out well for us. We were young lads cycling around a small village north of Inverness, and there was a small loop going round between 2 streets. And after going round once, I was like, that was really fun, let's do that again. And as we go round, Will leading at the front, we jump up onto the top road, and unfortunately there was a car coming along which clipped Will's bike tire and sent him flying off his bike onto the road, face first. Now, being quite young at the time, I thought I'd killed my brother. So I, in panic, cycled back to my Auntie Shona's to get the parents to sort out the situation. I regret putting my brother in hospital for several days, so that wasn't great, and that was the last time I made any sort of major decisions. However, as we grew up, Will became a truly amazing brother who still always looks out for me. He supports me, he's incredible, he works incredibly hard, and he's brilliant friends, all of you here today, around him, so thank you for that. Will's been very sporty. He was at Stirling University for 7 years. But he did do 2 years sabbatical for the university, working as sports union president and vice president of the student union. He was referred to as a perpetual student at that time, but clearly didn't want to leave and get a proper job, and he eventually had to leave the Van Wilder lifestyle. He's a keen amateur photographer, but brilliant, which resulted, obviously, as we heard on the beach, him and Beth getting together. They met through Instagram, and Will posted lots of amazing pictures there with likes from Beth, which obviously turned into loves. And as we know, the rest is history. They have 1 child, but not a human one, of course. Their beloved golden retriever, Atlas, and if he could speak and write a script, he would be up here today as best man, so. Beth has done a fantastic job as a CEO of the charity Feeling Strong. Based in Dundee, whose vision is to improve the lives of young people with mental health issues, well-being challenges, fostering their skills, confidence, and aspirations they need, the aspirations they need to flourish. So very worthwhile in this current world we live in. Well done to Beth. Anyway, you'll be pleased to hear that I'm getting to the end of this now. In truth, it's been a great honor to be his best man. It's a fantastic celebration today, which is lovely. I'm very proud for the man that he is, and always will be. Will, you're my big brother, co-director, but also my best friend. You're a very special person, and you've always had my back and supported me, so thank you. You were very lucky to have married this amazing woman, so thank you. And I'm overjoyed to welcome my new sister into the family, so that's brilliant. I would like to thank everyone for making such a big effort to ensure this day was special. And I'm sorry I'm reading all of this on my phone, but I couldn't get the printer to work, so that's what happened. I know it means the world to Will and Beth. It means the world to Will and Beth that, you know, so many of you come out and that you care and love for them. So it's really so special, so thank you all. Before I leave you, oh, can't do that bit, sorry. Grand. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, it just remains for me to all ask you to be upstanding and raise your glasses to please join me in the toast to the happy couple and wish them laughter and happy ever after in their long lives together. I give you the fantastic Will and Beth Mackenzie. Right, Lee, should we do that fireworks bit now? Yeah. What? We're not. I know we're in a TP, but okay, we'll come to that. Thank you very much, guys. Cheers. Thank you.
Wow. Just give me a second to recover for that. Hello. Sorry, you're stuck listening to another speech on top of speeches tonight, so I'll try and rattle through it as quick as I can. Massive thanks to Rob, obviously, for being my warm-up act tonight. Appreciate that, mate. You've come a very long way, Rob, from the teenage liability that I remember playing hockey with. Particular memory at Peppermill Stadium, where you were still drunk from the night before. Swung for the ball, missed, sent the stick flying into the now terrified crowd. Yeah, that was, yeah. But anyway, this obviously isn't the roast of Rob Mackenzie tonight. It's the roast of another Mackenzie. For the next few minutes, I'm going to be talking about Will, a man for whom the phrase Scottish independence now means having to ask his English wife for permission to go to the pub. It's going to be a few ancestors somewhere turning in their grave. Will, well done, good job. So I first met Will, it's pushing 20 years now, at Stirling University. Arguably the strongest, most important relationship I've formed as a result of my time there. I have to say arguably because my wife, who I met at university, is also sat over there. So you know, mate, it's just you. It's fine. It's okay. It's you. It's fine. I was brave. I was going to maybe miss that bit out, but I decided to include it. Will and I obviously absolutely loved our time at Stirling. In fact, Will, or Van Wilder, as Rob pointed out, loved it so much he decided to spend 5.5 years to complete his 3-year degree. Nice one, Will. Well done. The hockey pitch is where our bromance began. Will, a young, handsome, athletic, is that what I've written here? Skillful player in his prime. Beth, if you fancy him now, you should have got with him back then. But actually, having said that, I think you'd have been about 8 at the time. So maybe not. Fiercely competitive on the field. He scored countless goals, mostly terrible bobblers from short corners, and once brilliantly straight off a man's face, which was, of course, completely accidental, absolutely through no fault of Will's whatsoever. However, the protesting he did with the umpire about how, that's a goal, while the man lay in a bloody mess, was absolutely intentional. Will was also never above taking a spectacular dive when the opportunity presented itself, and I'm sorry to say I've seen him fall to the floor clutching his face on more than one occasion. Quite spectacularly, actually. Will takes every competition seriously. He actually wore a suit for Newcastle's Champions League final match back in 2008. The sports fans in the room will probably be a little bit puzzled about what I'm talking about, but actually they'd never made it to the Champions League final. This was a computer game. Football Manager sat in his halls in a 3-piece suit playing the game on his laptop. Takes it very seriously. Good game, Will, yeah. Speaking of suits, another famous suit Will has worn is an inflatable sumo suit. There'll be a couple in the room that are aware of this story. One that he had to be cut out of by paramedics shortly after putting it on, as he dislocated his shoulder for about the millionth time. This was a prime example of the clumsy, devil-may-care attitude that Will had back in the day. Actually, in fact, while my wife was pregnant with her first child, Sadie, I actually had a dream that Will was juggling the baby and dropped her on the floor. No, wait. Fast forward 3 or 4 years later, and I watched him actually send little Sadie flying off into the air as he pushed her on a swing. He was known for a wee while after that as Daddy's mean friend. Although exceptionally organised, Will is prone to the odd slip-up, such as the time we drove the near 6 hours to Wales for work to erect a marquee for a properly flagship Tesco event. Watching Will convince the Tesco executive it was too windy to put the marquee up on what was a beautiful, calm, sunny day was an absolute thing of beauty, especially since the truth of the matter was he'd actually completely forgot to bring the marquee and it was 300 miles away back up in Stirling in a warehouse. So that was the one thing that Will didn't forget from that trip was to organise us a 4-star hotel for the two of us to stay in, complete with pool, sauna, steam room and jacuzzi, because apparently budgets are only a guideline. You were always a wee bit fast and loose with your numbers, Will. Such as the time you were asked not to get me a stripper for my stag do. To get round this, instead of getting me a stripper, Will got me 2. Yes. Yeah, it was one of the little bits that I added back in. I thought I'd gauge the room and decide whether to include it or not. Funnily enough, Will decided he didn't want myself or Rob to organise like a proper stag do for him, and I can't think why. I don't know. Who knows? Will, over the years, before meeting Beth, you've obviously had a couple of girlfriends. I'll leave it there. That's it. Some of them, as an outsider looking in, seemed like a good fit for you. But for you, something was missing. To quote the famous Richmond FC footballer, Roy Kent, "You deserve someone who makes you feel like you've been struck by fucking lightning. Don't you dare settle for fine." And that's exactly what Will has found in you, Beth. His bolt of lightning. Beth, you look absolutely fantastic tonight. And I know that Will feels like the luckiest man in the world to have found someone so caring, compassionate, talented and driven to share the rest of his life with. You bring out the absolute best in one another, and I wish you both a lifetime of love and happiness together. Will and Beth.